Hello, hello, Christiane here again to turn it up a notch on the lubrication of our hips. So perhaps you are just coming into this video right now and you would like to have a bit longer of a warm-up, or you're more of a beginner, then I'm going to encourage you to go back to part 1, as this is part 2 of the work that we're doing to support, to nourish the lumbar spine. We'll start with this one by coming out to the side like so, with both feet well planted onto the ground, and then keeping the feet planted onto the ground. Let's drop the knees in one direction. Just go as much as you can. You may not be able to go very far with one or more of your legs, but the idea is to keep those feet well rooted for now anyway. And now, while maintaining awareness of the feet, let's go ahead on the next round and begin to let the top and the bottom of the opposite foot go. But stay aware of the movement of the feet as you drop your knees from side to side. Just keeping that connection very much at the forefront of your attention. Feet and hips working together. Now, you may choose to do this for a little while, yes, especially if you're just starting out with this work right now. You've been sitting for a really long time. Do this several times. You may even pick up the pace. But those of us who are already warmed up, because we just did the previous workout, let's go ahead and bring both knees out like so. I'll move back a little bit more, make sure that you can see. And then from here, lift yourselves up to encourage that top hip to lower down a little bit more. And here you may find very much appropriate to have 1 or 2 blankets to sit on, especially where that lower hip is, to give that top hip more of an even ground. Then, if you can go further, take that top knee up and down. You may find that this is not really accessible to you right now, so go back to what we just did, kind of like doing this back and forth with both knees on a more even base. But here too, I want you to be aware of the foot. So just keep the whole foot down for a moment and just notice the range that you have with the entire base of the foot on the ground. Just observe how far back you can go, how far in you can go. And then go ahead and begin to release the top and the bottom part of the foot. And by top, I mean the inside, and the bottom, I mean the outside. And notice the connection there, back and forth. Again, if this feels like too much, it's not of use to ignore that, yeah, because we're lubricating the joint, so there needs to be a certain level of ease in order for this to be done in a way that is effective. And once you feel that you've had enough with that, go ahead and come around. So you're now beginning to lengthen from the base of the spine, right, which is really what we're targeting, the lumbar spine. From the base of the spine, begin to lengthen out and away from those legs. And then you can come into your forearms to assist you with this, and then pick up from the low belly, pick up and roll up and out of those legs. You can straighten out both legs. That bottom leg, you can straighten it out in a diagonal, like so. Flex your feet. Encourage the top ribs to lower down. Encourage the bottom ribs to lift up. The shoulders are square. And again, you're picking up the low belly off of your pelvic floor, lengthening it towards the crown of the head. And then you are encouraging both legs to move out and away from the hip socket. Now let's go ahead and lift that top leg up. Lift it up a little bit higher if it's there for you. Take it back a little bit further if it's there for you. What I really want you to bring your attention to is on straightening the legs, both of them. So it's very easy to keep the knee bent here. It's very easy to forget to engage the top of the thigh. But I want to encourage you to keep it engaged, keep it alive. And then from there, maintaining that engagement, I want to encourage you to begin to create little circles. Small little circles. Maintain the engagement of the legs as you circle the leg around. If you feel a little burn on the outer glutes, that's perfectly fine. And then go ahead and switch directions. Keep going. Don't forget that you are also simultaneously lengthening the whole torso out of the pelvic floor, right? The whole torso, you're lifting it up and off of those legs. So you're doing both. And then go ahead and lengthen the legs out one more time without circling it. Lengthen, lengthen. Maybe even stretch both arms all the way out in front of you. So from the base of the spine, you're reaching forward towards the crown of the head, towards the fingertips. And then from the hip socket, you're extending out through both feet. And then as you're ready, slowly bring yourselves up. Take your time, especially if you went deep. And straighten both legs out in front of you like into Dandasana. Move the flesh out of the way a little bit. Legs are straight. Here once more, a little blanket to sit on to really encourage that top of the sacrum to move in. The tops of the thighs are engaged. And then here, pick up that leg, the leg that's on top, that was on top, bend, cross it over, so the outside of the ankle comes onto the thigh. Keeping both legs engaged. Breathe into this. Maybe too much, don't force it. And by too much, I mean your spine is like this, right? Everything is contracted. It's not worth it. A better alternative would be just to be sitting on a chair with the foot on the chair and the opposite leg up. And the foot at an angle. So it can be, so this leg can be lower. And then go ahead and lengthen forward if it's there for you. Keep the length. You're not rushing into a head to toe type of situation. You really are very much curious and involved with picking up from the base of the spine and bringing it out, like so. And then from here, you may find it interesting to bend that bottom leg. You may find that accessible. And just be here, breathing once more. It's really important that you're not just pressing that outer foot onto the thigh and the thigh onto the foot, although please be sure to be doing at least that, but to also encourage the outer glute of this top leg to engage. It's to allow to support the knee to broaden even more. Breathe. And then from here, straighten that bottom leg again. And you may find that you can easily bring that foot in closer to the top of the hip crease so that the ankle, the base of your calcaneus, of your heel, is right onto that soft part of the belly. And then take your toes and open them up so that the pinky toes moving up towards you and the amount of the big toes moving down. And so here you're using the foot to press that thigh down. To press it down. To encourage the top of the thigh to move down is another really important element of freeing up the spine. We have the lubrication of the hip joints, which is the focus that we're putting on today. We also have the opening of the hamstring, which is a focus for another time. And we also have the dropping down of the top of the thigh. Again, topic for another time, but just incorporating that in as you're able with what you're doing. So then here you can bring that opposite leg in and you have half padmasana. Yeah? And you may even find that you can venture yourself into full padmasana. So provided the knees are happy where they are, you can pick up that bottom leg like so and bring it up and around. And then here, provided that both knees go down, this one is not so much for me, so it's like I'm not quite there yet, but I'm free from any discomfort on the joints. Lumbar still pretty much doing its natural thing, it's honoring its curvature, so it's a safe place to be. Pushing down through the top of that foot to encourage the thigh to move down. Breathe. If you've gone all the way in, make sure that you really take your time and go back as you went in. So taking both hands on the top leg, opening it up. So releasing it all the way out. And then the second leg, lengthening it up, releasing it out. And just once more, find your way into Dandasana here. Then let's play with the other side. So we'll start out easy as we did at first. Just sitting up with both feet well planted onto the ground. And while keeping the feet planted on the ground, just notice how much range you have to go from one side to the other with the knees leading the way. And I'm going to invite you to keep that awareness of the feet as you allow them to drop to one side and the other. So you already know where we're going next, right? Just using just one leg. So if that did not feel very accessible to you on the other side, stick with this a little bit longer. And those of us who are ready, let's go ahead and come onto the side. Again, it's nice to lift yourself up, to place a blanket perhaps, and to bring those hips in much as close to an even ground as you can. And then from there, lifting that top leg and lower down and lift and lower down. And now see if you can keep the whole foot on the ground and notice how far down you can go, how high up you can go. Just play with that. Noticing the sensation in the inner groin, the outer groin. Just observe. None of this work should feel torturous, right? It really is about stretching the envelope a little, always, of course. That's how growth happens. In very subtle ways, very gentle ways, with a invitation for exploration and the willingness to back off as needed. And then when you had enough, go ahead and bring it down and come around to the side. And now here, the idea is that you roll from the base of the pelvic floor out. So lengthen the abdomen up and forward. And you can begin to straighten both legs. In a 90-degree angle here. Locate the bottom ribs, move them more to the right and up. Locate the top ribs, move them down and forward. Again, bottom ribs up and back, bottom ribs down and forward. So this is an active twist, yeah? And then we're gonna make it even more active by lifting up that back leg. And we're gonna make it even more active by really engaging through the legs. So removing the bend from the knees. So the top thigh is truly drawing into the bone, to the femur bone itself. Quadriceps, all those four muscles moving into the bone. And then from the pelvic floor, you are extending out to the heel of both legs. And then from the base of the spine, low abdomen, you're lengthening up and around into this little twist. And then from here, begin your circles. Maybe lift up even a little bit higher than you really want to. The muscles feel a little burn. That's great, they're growing, yeah? The muscles want resistance. And if we give the muscles resistance in an intelligent way, not only do we get stronger muscles, but we also get to support more space in the area of the joints and circulation and all that. That's tremendous, right? That's a body that can be happy a lot of the time. And then go ahead and switch directions. And of course, if you need a break along the way, you give yourself that break. So lengthening through the spine as you engage through the leg. And then go ahead and pause the circle, just extend a little further one more time through both heels. And then slowly come on out. So here again, we're going to go into Dandasana, so just sitting up tall. Move the flesh out of the way. Take a few blankets, if it's appropriate. Locate that top leg that you've just been working on, and bring that foot up and around. Now, as you bring the foot in around, don't just messy, just really honor the joints. Lift it up, bring it around, and now press that outer ankle onto the thigh, and feel that resistance of the thigh, and breathe into that. Lift from there. And just keep bringing the mind back to what you're doing right now. However far it wants to drift, just be kind, because it's got its tendencies and it's grown accustomed to wanting to continue to drift, right? There's a lot of stimulation out there, but your only job is just to invite it to come back. And then, as it feels appropriate, continue to lift from the base of the spine and lengthen forward. Again, we're not aiming for head to toe. We're just aiming to to invite the pelvic floor to lift up off of the legs. To invite the legs to move down off of the pelvic floor. That's it. That's it. And to do that from the base, we want to really lift from the low belly. And then if it's there for you, bend that top leg, bottom leg I should say. And as you do, you're very active here, pressing that outer heel onto the thigh, pressing the thigh onto the outer heel. Notice how just that activity alone will encourage that inner groin of the top leg to lengthen that top knee out to the side a little bit more. Breathe here. Find your sits bones, root them down. Locate the low belly, lengthen it up, and continue to work the legs. And then from here, lower back down. Maybe this foot wants to come up and in. Again, both sides are very different, so just honoring where you are with that. So the heel comes right into that soft part of the abdomen. The foot opens so that the big toe comes down, the little pinky toe moves in towards you. And you can draw that opposite leg, the bottom leg in. And you find yourself in half padmasana. Pressing down with that top leg, lifting up through the crown. And maybe, just in case, bring that bottom leg out a little bit. Take a handle of the entire shin with both hands, like so. And see if you can bring it up and around. And then again, move the tush out of the way. Press the tops of your feet onto those thighs to encourage them to move down. If there's any funny sensation with the knee or the joint or the low back, then step out of it as you went in. Just very graciously honor the limitations of the body, because there is a lot there to be uncovered that is not limited at all. But we have to honor the limitations in order to make those discoveries. And then from here, take that top leg, bring it out and down. And we take the other leg, similarly, bring it out and down. And then we just come into an easy pose, however it is that you're accustomed to sitting. And if it's on a chair, then take your chair. Make the little adjustments that you do to support an easeful body. That was the goal for today, at least on this end. Easeful mind. Notice that now the body may be more prepared or have less distractions to take you into a practice of meditation. And so whether you continue with your meditation, or maybe take a little shavasana, or maybe review some of these things that we just did while it's still fresh in mind, and just play with them again so that you can internalize it better. I wish for you all the things that support your well-being, including, of course, ease of body and mind. So thank you for coming on this little journey